Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on DBArtisan to help you learn how to run databases smoothly. My name is Anil, and I'll be your host for this webinar. There'll be a couple of housekeeping items. Everybody's on mute, and if you have any questions, please post it in the GoToWebinar control panel located on the right side. And if you're able to see my screen and hear me clearly, can you please raise your hands? I can just get a show of hands to make sure that we're all here. And we're just waiting here to begin shortly. Again, can you all hear me and see my screen, please? Yes, no? All right, and this session is being recorded, so we will be sending you the recording as soon as it's done. So welcome. Here we have DBArtisan. It is our flagship database administration tool from IDERA. And here you can see I'm connected to a SQL Server database. It is a single tool that will help you to connect to multiple database platforms. So that gives you the advantage of utilizing DBArtisan. Today, what we'll be covering is just going over some of the user interface and also showing you what you can do with DBArtisan on a day-to-day basis. So this covers both the database administrator and developer in mind. So what we can do here is we can actually go and take a look at the version. The first thing you'll do is you can actually go ahead and register a data source. So here you can see I have a data source. I can choose on what are the database types I can go ahead and register. So we have support for all of these databases here. Next, once it's registered, you will see that you can go ahead and right click and choose connect. And once that is done, you should be able to go ahead and look at all of this metadata information. And right now, the database version that we're looking at is SQL Server 2019. And very soon, we'll be looking at other upcoming versions and supported. For Oracle databases, we support anywhere between 12C to all the way up till 19C. And then we're releasing newer versions to support the upcoming latest versions. Next, what we'll do is let me show you how to navigate here within the user interface. On the left-hand side is your Database Explorer. The Database Explorer here, it comprises of registration of your server. So here you can see we have multiple server groups. So we have ODBC server groups, as well as we have your Microsoft SQL. Next, what we can do is to navigate into the database monitor. That's the first thing you want to look. And here is where you can see a bunch of activity happening here from there. So what we can showcase here is that we can show you which user is connected and using what tool and what application is being run at this current point in time. Next, what we'll do is to navigate with some of the databases. So here you can see I have a bunch of databases here. What I can do is I can navigate to the Wide World Importers sample database. And here, if I click on the Tables tab, I can go ahead and navigate. Or if I type any of the data sources that I need to access, I can go ahead and do that. And if I wanted to filter based on certain objects, I can just say sort by object owner. So that will give me all the list of database objects based on that owner. So here you can see I have that based on the schemas that I can pick. Then if I want to go back by objects, I can go ahead and choose that. And I can also go ahead and limit the system objects to never show so that I have a much more cleaner user experience and I can work with it to my best of my ability. So here I can right click on the right hand side is where you can see the Object Explorer. This is where you can actually look at the various types of objects that you can get within DBArtisan. And within the database, you can see we have a bunch of objects here. So let's say, for example, I wanted to go ahead and look at the application. I can just right click and do a select star. And there you go. Here are my results set. Now within the results pane, you can do multiple things. You can actually highlight here and you can go ahead and just say save as. And you can go ahead and save this either as a tab delimited, pipe delimited, HTML file, Excel, XML, anything. So all of this is available for you. And you can also go ahead and right click and view as HTML here itself. So this is another cool feature. You can also view it as ASCII if you would like. So you have those options as well. But the next thing that is really awesome about DBArtisan is that you can actually go ahead and schedule your SQL or debug your SQL. And you can also go under the query options to make sure that you have some certain query analysis that you would like to perform, like forcing a plan, getting the statistics, estimated statistics plan. You can get all of this here. So now if I go ahead and run this query again, I now get a XML based query plan where I can right click and say view it as a tree, and I get this here. And then if I wanted to view it as XML, if I wanted to view it as a graph, here you can see the plan and what is the IO cost and what is the estimated number of rows. Next, what we can do is we can actually go ahead and in the results pane, if I were to go back and do that again, there's also another cool feature if you would like to share just a subset of this data with your teammates, and you can right click and you can say generate insert statements. Now what this is going to do is this is going to generate a single script file that you can actually go ahead and run on a test server that you have, and that helps you to get all of this metadata into that test server and work with it with your testing team. So that's a great option. Next, what we can do is you also have the ability here, as I'm showing you the database area, you also have the certain tree objects, say, for example, the server. Here you can look at the various server versions. And then here you can look at the configuration of this particular SQL server. Then here you can look at the error logs. So just give me a second here. Yeah, there you can see the error logs. So now you can double click and you can look at all the error logs that are there. And then of course you do have some server level triggers. Now let's talk about the storage. So here you can actually go ahead and create a backup device. So for example, here I just give it as DB sample. And then I can choose either if it's a type or a tape. So here I can actually just say C drive DB sample.dik, and I can get the DDL view here and I can execute that. And there you go, just like that, I have this now. But what I can also do is now that I have a backup device, I can right click on it, and then I can choose if I wanted to back up any kind of databases. So I can choose any of these. So if I wanted to right click on this and choose backup, I can then say a new backup operation. And here I can choose this, choose next. And then here I can choose a full backup. Then I can add a backup location here. So if I go to my DB sample, it automatically detects that. Choose next, and I can give it a backup set name, all that jazz, and hit next and do the backup. So you have all of those features. Next, let's take a look at how we can work as a database administrator to also look at how the performance is happening with our various analytics packs. So here, if you look at, we have space analyst, capacity analyst, and performance analyst. The capacity analyst is basically helping you to leverage capacity planning as part of your daily administrative tasks. So for example, if I choose capacity analyst here, I can provide an email address or just specify what the activity is. And here I can choose what type of objects I would like to go ahead and perform any kind of trend analysis etc. So here I can pick the databases that I'm interested in. So I can choose any one of these. And then once I've chosen that, I can then choose whichever I want. So here I can choose a database backup, for example. Next, again, choose a database. After that, choose which all the tables you want backed up. I'll just choose one of them. You can choose any access methods here. And yeah, you can do a sample scan or a full table scan. Again, all of this are to be done during your scheduled hours. And then next, we choose next. If you choose percentage, and then you can choose an auto purge to purge this data after a year. Let me go ahead and start running this. It brings up the Windows Task Scheduler. And we can go ahead and kickstart that. There you go. So now what I can do is I can actually look at an analysis when I can choose everything is by reference count and do that. And slowly it's going to start collecting the data as and when it progresses. Next, let's talk about the performance analyst. Here you're seeing this is an ad hoc solution where as long as you have DBArtisan open, you should be able to go ahead and launch this. And once the tool is closed, no activity is recorded from the database. So here, for example, if I go to the memory section, you'll see the buffer pool cache hit ratio here of this is there here. And then you can also go ahead and look at some of the ad hoc navigation. So here you can actually go ahead and change the graph type if you wanted to, make it look a little bit more nicer. And then you also have some data source thresholds that you can actually specify. And this is by default an IDERA template. So you can actually go ahead and look at the active processes based on a value of 80%. Do that. And then once you have done that, you can actually go ahead and choose what you would like. So let me go ahead and choose, let's say, here. There you go. And then now I can click OK. So it goes and takes that into consideration. Next, what we can do in the performance analyst is the ability to look at some of the key metrics, if you will, based on I/O. So here you can have system I/O, and then here you can have user I/O, and then all the other databases that you can see here. So now what I can do is I can actually go in here and look at Space Analyst. Space Analyst gives you the ability to look at all the space and files that you have. So here I can actually go ahead and look at all the various database objects and look at all the space based on the primary drive. And here I can see this is how I can have all of these. Here I'm having a primary file group, but you can have secondary file groups or n number of file groups that you're working with. And last but not the least is the ability to look at some of the development aspects. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. First and foremost is if I want to go to, let's say, one of these tables, I can actually go under schemas. So here I can go under the sales schema. Actually, let me do this. Let me go to there we go. So now there we go. And then here, what I can do is I can highlight a bunch of these tables. What I can do is I can actually extract them. So I can go ahead and choose extract objects. And lo and behold, I have an actual SQL file that has taken me to the iSQL window, and it can extract the files. Next, what I can do is I can go ahead and add this to my script library. So if I just say extract, then here I can just do a Control E for extract. Let me choose another one. Control P. There you go. So next time I decide I wanted a new iSQL window, if I do Control B, there you go. in seconds, I have all of this at my disposal that I can go ahead and start replicating onto other databases in question. Next, what we can do is we can now obviously go ahead and choose a format to make it look good. And then we can also go ahead and check if there's any kind of syntax error, and it points it straight here as well. So now if I choose format SQL, looks good. And then I go ahead and do a new iSQL window. I can actually go ahead and insert and paste SQL syntax that is there. If I wanted to, I can go ahead and paste this. And the next thing I can do is also go ahead and paste a SQL statement that I have in a particular schema. So here I'll go and choose, let's say I do all owners so that I can get this. Yeah, there you go. So here I can choose, I can start building my query just like this. I just say paste statement. That's it. And then I can go ahead and hit execute. And there you go. All right. And that. And then what we can also do is I can go ahead and go into my query options here again. Again, set all of these to the default, set a plan here. And once that is done, I can go ahead and execute it again and look at the query plan. There you go. So here now I can get a cost of how much it is taking all of this. And then if I go and see here, a cluster index is where it's doing the maximum. I'll exit out of that. Next, what we can show you is the ability for looking at some of the schema extraction and schema publication. So I'll show you a schema publication. So here, for example, if I'm taking my database here and I want to publish this to a schema. So here I'll just put the application one for simplicity. And then if I choose my tables I would like to publish, choose next. And I can actually go ahead and append a timestamp here. I'm going to go ahead and start doing a publication. And once it's done, you should be able to go ahead and look at the report. And there you go. Excellent. So now that we have that, what I can do is next go back to DBArtisan, close this. And once I've done with this, I can actually go ahead and look at some of our other utilities under the tools section. And this is where I can choose either to do a database search. Now, this is very useful if you're in a multi-server environment and if you're trying to search for a specific table, a procedure, etc. And then I'll just type in the word customer. So it's going to go and search across database servers and the object types if it can find the word customer anywhere in the database server. It's going to just give it a second here. And there you go. It found customer in multiple places here. It found from here, found from all of this. And what's really cool about this, folks, is that you can actually go ahead and start extracting this to an editor right off the bat, just like this. So again, efficiency, speed, everything is part of the DBArtisan story here. So with that, what I would like to do is next showcase a little bit more on the code workbench actually, and we do have the ability to log into your favorite command lines here if you're so inclined. If you're looking at a SQL CMD, there you can go ahead and do that as well. And last but not least, I can also go ahead and use the code workbench. Here I can choose auto replace. So if I were to choose any of these shortcuts, it's going to go ahead and do that. So for example, if I were to go to a new MySQL window, I just type CL, it's going to do a select star from, and then I do a control space. is application dot cities C, and then I do another application dot cities archive where C dot city archive is going to give me the ID, and then from there I can actually do a CA dot ID. So you have lots of options there in terms of that. And last but not least, I would like to point you to our website. So let me just go in here and go to IDERA.com. And here, if you go under products and then go under DBArtisan Studio, here you're brought into looking at all of our solutions here. So the product that I demonstrated today was DBArtisan. We still have DB Change Manager, DB Optimizer, and RapidSQL. Again, we encourage you to download a trial version, book a personalized meeting with one of our sales engineers, and we would love to talk more with you. And does anybody have any questions, please? I'm just going to take a look at the question box here. Okay, so if nobody has any questions, I would like to thank you for joining us today, and you will receive the recording as soon as it's ready. Thank you and have a wonderful day.